I guess right now we should start the show.
Yo, welcome back to the JV podcast. Today, got a special guest. Got my man Vic in the building. Y'all might have seen
Yes,
him
sir.
every time we do the mock drafts. But today is not that.
Oh,
We had a crazy trade deadline. I think it was like 78 players got traded at this deadline. So it's a lot to talk about. We're gonna be discussing all these trades and giving our winners and losers of the trade deadline. Um, I kind of just want to go and talk about these trades like one by one, and then I guess at the very end we could give like our biggest winners and losers. Or like in the middle of whatever trade we're talking about, you could just spoil it and be like, This team is a fucking loser because of this." But I don't have it in order of like of when the trade happened. I just have them all like written down. Um yeah, so it's all just piled up in here. Um but the first trade I'm gonna bring up, and I'll let you talk about it first because you are the guest. The Grizzlies and the Jazz blockbuster trade. We saw the Grizzlies trade Jaren Jackson Jr., John Conchar, Jock Landale, and Vince Williams. And the Utah Jazz traded Walter Clayton Jr., Kyle Anderson, Taylor Hendricks, Georges Niang, and 3 future first round picks.
I like this trade. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, listen, man. Trades are, I feel like a majority of them in some way kind of surprise you, right? Especially when you don't hear like several names being, attached to one another. Um, but this one was pretty surprising. Like, I thought Ja was for sure gonna be out of there before Jaren Jackson. But coming to think, where both of these teams are at, I actually really like it, and I think it obviously signals a rebuild for the Grizzlies. I saw a report that said they're most likely still going to move on from him in the summer, John Morant, but for what they received, I mean, the start, I think, uh, for the day and age that we are in the NBA, getting the 3 first round picks secure. When you're a rebuilding team, specifically a small market team, I think that's the priority is getting, 1st round picks to add to your future. But I also like some of the players they got. You know how we feel about Walter Clayton Jr. Guy is a complete baller, right? And I mean, we know he was carrying those Gators all through March. But Kyle Anderson has always been a class player wherever he's at. Georges Niang is a good 3-and-D guy you can have on any team, and even Taylor Hendricks. But for Utah, I really like this as well because now everybody's saying it, right? You get to pair Jared Jackson up with the really big front court once Walker Kessler comes back. Walker Kessler's a great rebounder, so he gets to kind of hide that weakness from Jared Jackson. He's also a really good defender. So, they can kind of feed off of each other pretty well. And our marketing is not a good defender. So, putting him at the 3 when you have Jared Jackson at the 4, they can do so much damage, make him worry more about the offensive side of the ball. And then that backcourt with Keontae George and Ace Bailey at 6'9", that's a really big team. And I think, they definitely, I mean, you can't stay in rebuild mode forever, right? So you got to swing for the fences eventually. And this is one where I think it could pay off for them based on, the way their team is constructed.
Nah, yeah. Um, like you said at first, like for Utah, I do like this move for them. I think just being able to get Jaren Jackson at the value you got him at and pair him, that was like the big intriguing thing for me, being able to pair him with Walker Kessler and Larry Markkinen in that front court. I think is going to be really scary going forward. And I think this team has shown like they can compete with some of these teams in the league. Like they're not that complete of a joke like they used to be. Um, and I like them trying to send that message that, oh, all right, we're trying to compete now, going into the future. But for Memphis, I do really like this move just because you cash in on Jaren Jackson at probably, I don't want to say his highest value, but you did get good enough stuff for him. And now I think from now between 2032, the Grizzlies have 13 first round picks. And just between Desmond Bain and Jaren Jackson, they got 7 first round picks. So you can't even be mad at that. And I think it puts them in the position where when it is time to trade Ja, they don't have to look for some crazy offer because they already got 7 firsts for Bain and Jaren Jackson. They could just trade Ja for something that's not as crazy and they'll be fine with it. But having all those picks into the future is really good for a franchise that's been historically pretty good at drafting in the recent years and developing talent. So I think for Memphis that's really good. And for Utah, um, those picks that they sent out, I actually have them here. One of them is a 2027 first round pick, and it is the best of Utah, Timberwolves, and Cavs. It's the most favorable of one of the three. Um, then it's a 2027 Lakers first round pick, top 4 protected. Um, I don't know if that pick is even going to mean much. It's a Lakers pick. I think that was from the Westbrook trade when they got like Vanderbilt, and all them. But that pick ain't gonna mean shit when you got Luca on the Lakers. And the last pick is a 2031 first unprotected first round pick, originally from the Suns. So that's the Suns pick from 2031. So I guess that could be the intriguing one because you don't know what the fuck the Suns are gonna look like in 2031. Um,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like a crazy, like people saw 3 first round picks and everybody automatically assumed it was like 3 of Utah's first round picks,
Yeah.
which wasn't the case. So I think with the picks that they gave out, they got Jaren Jackson Jr. at a pretty good price. So actually I like it for both sides.
Yeah, I think Danny Ainge knows better than that. I don't think he's gonna trade 3
Yeah,
unprotected Utah picks for Jaren Jackson's a great player, but he's also going to be locked in there till like 2030, and he's got a pretty big contract. He's making 35 this year, but then he's going to be making basically 50 million for the next 3-4 years after that if he accepts the player option. So yeah, he's got a lot of guaranteed money there, but still, I mean, overall, I really like it. Keontae George, you still have on a rookie deal until after next season, and yeah, so I like it a little bit more for the Jazz than I do for the Grizzlies, only because with the Grizzlies that means you're just entering rebuild mode, and that provides a lot of uncertainty. But overall, you gotta they've identified that this pairing, this grouping wasn't working and probably came to I guess it reached its full potential and didn't succeed. So it was time to move on. And I think the Grizzlies now have a pretty bright future. I really love watching Cedric Howard, one of my favorite young players in the league right now. Um, but yeah, I think the Grizzlies have always also been a team that has drafted well. Um, so I'm actually very intrigued to see how they're gonna move about with a lot of these picks and I guess future trades and whatnot. But yeah,
yeah. And for the next trade, we got probably the one that caused the most conversation this week, and it was the Clippers Cavaliers trade. The Clippers are sending James Harden to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and in return, the Clippers are getting back Darius Garland and a 2026 second round pick. This was the trade where it was rumored like a day before it happened, and then it finally happened. And I'm gonna just come right out and say it because it's no spoiler. I already talked about it on TikTok, but I wasn't a fan of this trade for the Cavaliers, and even with 3 4 days being able to sit with this, um, I didn't. I wasn't like I was telling people like, yo, if the Cavs make that trade, I'm gonna be even less scared of them than I was before, and it just bothers me with all the people saying that, oh, they're all of a sudden the favorites to come out of the East. And I think this move for them, it just shortens their window. Like honestly, I gave James Harden his props. Like they're gonna look good in the rest of the regular season. Whenever James Harden goes to a new team, there's a honeymoon stage. It looks really good in the beginning, and then once there's adversity, that's when shit starts to get real. But I, if I'm a Cavs fan, Mobley and Allen, I'd be excited for them to play with Harden because they're gonna look really good. He's gonna take a lot of pressure off of Donovan Mitchell, but we all know the track record with James Harden when it comes to the playoffs. Whenever it's a closeout game, you don't know what version you're gonna get of him. Actually, you do know what version you're gonna get from him. He's not gonna show up. And to pair that guy with Mr. Lights Too Bright and Jared Allen is gonna be like you can't now ask James Harden to be your savior to get you over the hump. Because now with this move, trading for someone that's 10 years older than Darius Garland, you're only accelerating the window. That this trade basically insinuates that you have to get to the finals this year because I also have seen that Donovan Mitchell is extension eligible this summer because he will be a free agent in 2027. So this whole thing really predicates on Donovan Mitchell's future in Cleveland. So the whole era of Donovan Mitchell in Cleveland is all on the shoulders of James Harden. And I don't know if I'd be comfortable making that bet because we've seen time and time again that James Harden has not been able to get over that hump. Whether it was by himself when he was one of the top dogs in the league or with other talents. I'll give him a pass for Brooklyn because he was playing on one leg. But people talking about the Cavs as the favorites to come out the East. Brother, he played with Joel Embiid and Donovan Mitchell not too long ago, and they didn't even get to the conference finals. People tend to forget that. So it's a cool move to for the regular season. I think he is going to raise the floor of this team. He is more available than Darius Garland, so I understand the reason to want to move Darius Garland, but I didn't think putting all your chips in James Harden was the move. If they could have maybe got something else, I don't know if that was out there, but he is going to raise the floor for this team. But in terms of that ultimate goal of winning the championship, I didn't like this move for them at all.
Yeah, look, man, Justin, man. I mean, you know, I got the shoes, right? I got another pair of shoes. You know what I mean? Like, I listen, man. I respect James Harden and everything like that. I'm not here to, hate on the guy and whatnot. I do agree with some of the narratives, though. Unfortunately, that he isn't necessarily the best closeout player in the playoffs, and I think the one that disappointed me the most, to be honest, was against Philly because I think it's one thing to have a bad performance. Every great player has bad performances, but I mean the man literally just straight up quit on the team, and it's like, okay, if you have an issue with Daryl Morey, that's cool. You're a grown man, go settle that. In your own time, but you're playing on a team with other people. I don't know. I felt like that was selfish, but honestly, like I said, I showed everything there, and I fuck with James Harden, but yeah, I hate this trade. I hate this trade. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. Just like I don't know what to say. I hate this trade for them because Darius Garland. Listen, he's a good player. He's probably never going to be as good as what James Harden was at his prime, or even probably what he still is right now. But at the same time, I mean, listen, we just said it. James Harden, he's 36. He'll be 37 in September, so he'll be 36 for the rest of the season. But It's not only that he's not, the best closeout player, but obviously the older you're gonna get, the more prone you are gonna be to injury, the more vulnerable you are gonna be to injury. Darius Garland has had several of his own, but he's a little bit younger and has a lot less miles on him, and I think he can handle it more. But I think the other thing is right is kind of what you just mentioned. What happens if, and most likely when, Donovan Mitchell uh, becomes a free agent in 2027 because it is a player option. But I think, most of America is expecting him to opt out. Um, and let's say he opts out and he doesn't resign and he goes to a different team. Now you're stuck with James Harden when you could have had a Darius Garland who's still not even going to be 30 years old yet. You see what I mean? And you basically just jeopardized your future. To me, they did what the Suns kind of did when they got Kevin Durant in a way. Just nowhere near as extreme, of course, but essentially just giving up, picks and players that okay, we're gonna go all in now, and it doesn't matter. And listen, I get that all these rosters when you're, especially now that we're in the East, right? Like a lot of these teams feel like, hey, we have a legit chance we could pull the trigger. That's why we saw rumors of the Bulls early on in the Anthony Davis sweepstakes, or the Hawks in the Anthony Davis sweepstakes, right? Which obviously we'll talk about later. But those teams feel like, hey, if we make a few more improvements, we could have a legitimate chance. So that was my confusion with the Cavs. And as great as a player as James Harden is, I feel like, and uh, I guess we'll get to the other side of this very, very soon. But like to me, Ben Matherin is a player I would have rather seeked out at this point in time than James Harden. I would have probably rather paired Ben Mathurin with uh, Donovan Mitchell. I think that would have been cool. And sure, Ben Mathurin isn't James Harden, but I think you understand my point, right? Where at least, okay, fine, Donovan Mitchell leaves. You still have a player who, is like a borderline all star, has the potential to be an all star one day, and you pair that up. I mean, when you're small market teams, right? Listen, when you're not LA, you're not New York, you're not Chicago or Golden State, and all of these prestigious franchises, you need to make sure that you are, prioritizing the present and the future. And that's what the Grizzlies are doing, right? And, we see a few other teams that across the league that are doing that. Oklahoma City Thunder, they are, they're ready now. They're ready 5 years from now. They're ready. You know what I mean? Because they know people aren't just gonna wake up one morning and say, "Hey, yeah, I just want to go to Oklahoma City now." So, it's the same thing with Cleveland, right? I mean, it's the infamous Joakim Noah quote, right? Who wants to go to vacation on Cleveland, right? I'll never forget Joakim Noah with that. But yeah, no. So listen, man. Like I said, I'm not a fan of the trade for the Cavaliers, and I feel like James Harden one day is going to make us eat our words, and he's just going to drop like a 50 piece in Game 7 and everything, and the Cavs are going to go to the finals, beat the Knicks. Knock on wood. Hell no, they would never beat that team. But yeah. So, but no. In all honesty, like I feel like one day he might make us eat our words, but I'm not. I'm not excited about this trade. If I was a Cavs fan, I'd be more worried than excited.
Yeah, you said it perfectly, man. I feel like regular season you could probably be optimistic, but playoffs is like when everything you is out the window. For the Clippers, I just like it starting fresh. And we're gonna talk about later on with the another move that they made, but just starting fresh. You have a young 26-year-old guard who, I mean, we'll see if he plays this season, but I've always liked Darius Garland. He's one of the most dynamic point guards in the league, and it was almost, I think we almost saw like what this team was like, the ceiling of the Cavs with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. It was just unfortunate. Um, we didn't get to see it this season, and I understand why the Cavs moved on from him, just because you don't know when this guy's gonna be available, and you're moving on Donovan Mitchell's time. Like you got to do this now or never, and you can't be waiting on Darius Garland. But I do hope that Darius Garland does. I hope he does well in LA. I think he's a big winner, going from living in Cleveland to living in LA now. So shout out to him. The next trade, I'm not gonna lie, I laughed when I saw this trade, but
I mean, not for his paycheck, but everything else, sure.
not for his paycheck, but for everything else. But this trade was funny. Don't even need that much conversation, but we could talk about it. But the Pistons, well, all right. So the Chicago Bulls, this was a three-team trade. Chicago Bulls received Jaden Ivey and Mike Conley Jr. Detroit Pistons received Kevin Herter, Dario Saric, a 2026 first-round pick swap protected, and the Minnesota Timberwolves got cash considerations. Just a salary dump for. I mean, the Timberwolves ended up getting Mike Conley back, so they finessed everybody. Um, the Bulls started their trend of just getting every guard, and for the Pistons trading Jaden Ivey, I was confused by it, but
Yeah.
I don't I don't know. So
Um.
my honest reaction to that trade was it made me less afraid of the Pistons, even though we got smacked by the Pistons last night. I looked at that game and I was like, I ain't tripping. I ain't tripping at all.
Yeah.
Fucking Dennis Jenkins was treating that game like it was game 7. I'm like, I ain't tripping.
Yeah. That is
I'm like,
Jenkins, bro.
I was like, we'll see you. I was like, we'll see you. Knock on wood in May. We'll see you in May.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. I wasn't tripping about that game, but like Jaden Ivey, who was their second ball handler. I granted he was still coming from back from the
Shit.
injury and all that, and he didn't really get the proper time. Like a lot of Pistons fans were saying, "Yo, this dude was our top 5 pick, and we didn't even give him the proper time to come back from that injury and reacclimate himself." And you brought him back for Kevin Herter, who's cool, but last time I checked, he's shooting like 31% from 3. And you made this move to get more spacing around Cade, and you traded for a guy who's shooting 31% from 3. And his first game with the Pistons on I think against the Wizards, he played like 7 minutes and had like 2 points. I'm like, if that's what we're doing, fine. Because in a 7-game series, it's just gonna look a whole lot different. And I just didn't like that move for the Pistons because I'm like, you need. I understand you need more shooting around Cade, but you also need somebody to take the pressure off, and I don't think they did that. And for the Bulls, you take a chance on Jaden Ivey, cool. Either you keep him or you flip him for something else. We'll see how that goes. Um, and then Dario Saric, I don't even think he's gonna play for the fucking Pistons. But yeah, it was a whatever trade.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, for Minnesota, I don't really think it was a biggie. It was just them trying to get rid of some salary, and then of course they got Mike Conley right back, so they just finessed everybody, and then added another guard, which that was a little bit of a bigger move, but I actually like that move for them there. Um, Minnesota, I give them credit. They really couldn't do anything because they don't have too many picks they could trade. Still recovering from the Rudy Gobert debacle, but yeah. So the Detroit Pistons, though. Listen, I agree, and maybe I might sound like a hater. I might sound a little bit salty because of last night, freaking Dennis Jenkins, and I had my friend over last night who hadn't watched the Knicks game for like a few weeks and whatnot. He was having issues, so like he sees Dennis Jenkins going off, and he's like, "Yo, who the hell is this guy, bro?" Like it was just really funny, but no, I'm really not concerned about it at all because honestly, Kevin Herter is a very streaky shooter, or has become a very streaky shooter. He came in to the league a little bit more consistent, but he's gotten a little bit more streakier throughout the years. And honestly, I think I completely agree with what you were saying. Right? How even last night, that was one of the things I took away. Right? Was Cade Cunningham. It's like it's hard for I guess the Pistons to get the ball out of his hands, right, and find somebody else consistently to score. I remember there were like some people, and I get it from like a fit perspective that didn't agree with me, but I just thought that was a team that should have tried to get Brandon Ingram because he's somebody that is can dribble the ball, can create his own shot, take that pressure off of uh, um, Cunningham, and it's not like he would need like a high demand, right? And Cunningham could still get his buckets, but I mean, this to me is like, I don't want to sound cocky and arrogant, right? But this was basically me when like it happened. I was like, like, yeah, okay, I mean, it's not really gonna move the needle for me. So, and it doesn't really scare me. I mean, I think honestly their best asset there might have been getting that pick swap. We'll see how that turns out. But yeah, Dario Saric, I think people are even forgetting that he's in the league still. I mean, he's just like sitting there. I know he's happy collecting those paychecks and just breathing air basically. Um, so yeah, but I actually do like it for Chicago, right? Taking a shot at Jaden Ivey when we didn't really pay anything, right? So Jaden Ivey, he's still a good player, right? And he's got a lot of potential, still a really young guy, forward top 5 overall pick. So, we know the talent is there, but I just never really thought he was a good fit with Cade Cunningham. So, hopefully he'll have a better chance to blossom in Chicago. But yeah, that's really it. It's obviously not a big trade there.
Yeah. For the next trade, I'll let you start off with this one. This was another trade that a lot of people were pretty hyped for, and there was a lot of discussion about it. But it was the Chicago Bulls trading Nikola Vucevic and a future second round pick to the Celtics, and in return, the Chicago Bulls got Anthony Simons and that future second round pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's confusing because like I like it and I don't. I get it. They need a center, and he was probably the best center in the market, and he's still at age 35, a pretty solid bucket getter. He's averaging basically 17 points a game. That's his career average basically. 9 rebounds a game. Still shooting at a pretty solid clip, 37% from three this year. But I just think overall, the Celtics kind of needed more of a defensive anchor on the defensive end, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't have the stats in front of me here, but Nikola Vukovic, I'm pretty sure is like the worst starting defensive center in the entire league. Like he
Yeah,
basically
he's
has,
horrible.
he basically has the highest field goal opposition rate in the league. Meaning, of course, like centers score the most points on him more than any player, any other center in the league. So it's basically like he's at the rim, and it's like okay, that's 50 Cent at the candy shop when he's at the ring, right? So, yeah, basically, so the Celtics there, I get it. This is a team that is always gonna, they're never gonna be in tank mode, right? Even if they don't have the talent, they're always gonna try to, make moves to try to catapult themselves. And I get that. They lost, two of their big men that took up the most minutes last year. With, well, I'm sorry, they lost three of them. Really, with Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, and Luke Cornett. So they had Nemais Kenta. I'm still kind of struggling to say his name, but
Cato.
yeah, Kada. Um, and he was honestly, I mean, he's a better defender than Nikola Vukovic is, right? So it's kind of like a weird, um, like kind of strange trade here for the Celtics. For Chicago, I mean, listen, you load up on, is it Windy City or is it Guard City, right? I mean, right now it's that team is loaded with guards. So I don't expect all of them to stay. I think a lot of them are basically, doing a little tryout, a little recital there, and then probably going to dip and bounce the following year, right? Try to add value. I think Chicago, this is one of the weirdest, strangest teams in the league. Their direction to me is like completely perplexing. Somebody asked me what their direction is. I don't know. I look at them like a deer in headlights. So I don't really know what's going on over there in Chicago. Shout out to my brother. I love you, but it's some dark days right now. And last few years in Chicago, and I don't, I would say they should get a top five pick, but that probably won't happen either. So, yeah, overall, listen, this is another trade that I don't think really wowed me, but um, I felt like the Celtics knew they had to get rid of Anthony Simons. He probably wasn't going to re-sign with them, even though he's having a really good season. And I think for the Bulls, they got a piece that if he wants to stay, he can end up being a really good backcourt piece with Josh Giddey. You never know. If not, they could probably resign him and do a little sign and trade and finally, hopefully, I mean probably not, but try to get a first round pick. So yeah, probably not, but
Um, I thought this trade was like decent for both sides. The Celtics get Vucevic, they get a center, but I agree with you. It's like they're trying to replicate the Porzingis shit, but Vucevic isn't the rim protector that Porzingis was or is. Um, so I guess because I feel like with Cater right now, the production he's giving you is kind of hard to just tell him to like, yo, just come off the bench for now. I don't think you could do that. And last night they had Vucevic coming off the bench. I don't know if it's going to continue being that way, but I guess it's good to have Vucevic come off the bench and now you have a look or a lineup where you could go five out and it's a little bit reminiscent of the 2024 Celtics. Um, so I guess in that sense it's decent, but he's gonna get attacked so badly. Like you can't. I feel like you can't really play him as much as you would like to, just because he's gonna be such a liability on the defensive end. But
oh yeah,
that's
call times like this.
yeah. If Towns was given the work to Jokic and Valanciunas, imagine what the fuck he's gonna do to Vucevic. So it's a little bit conflicting. And then for the Bulls, it's just guard city over there. You get
Yeah,
Simons, you got Ivy, you get more. You're not done. And
yeah,
shout out to Anthony because I don't know how you could fucking root for this bullshit. Um, I can't. I wouldn't be able to watch
no,
this
no,
shit.
no, no pun intended.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
no pun intended. Because but at the same time, the Bulls have to be bad because they have been so used to being just fucking mid for the last couple years, always going 40 and 42, 42 and 40, forty
Yeah,
one and 41. They
they
love
gotta
doing that. And then
they gotta.
they end up getting
Sorry.
the fucking ninth or 12th pick and then be like, what the fuck? Yeah,
Yeah,
this is why you got to be complete trash to get one of the top guys. The last time you guys had a top pick, you guys took fucking Patrick Williams. This is
yeah.
why you got to just
Forget.
you just got to bottom out and get one of these top guys, and then we can start being optimistic again.
Yeah, forget 2026. They're not getting the top pick. Worry about Tyron Stokes, the Chicago Bulls. That needs to be their focus right now, 2027 and 2028, because they're like the one team right now that within the entire league that like, you know, they haven't really gone into rebuild mode yet, and they're just like, throwing out teams and rosters out there and saying, okay, fans, just come and watch this, and then look at the hoopla we do, and draft Noah Essengay in the first round over Derek Queen and never watch him play a minute, right? When they clearly needed a center to replace Nikola Vukovic for this time being, right? Imagine they would have had Derek Queen, but I don't know. I'm sorry I had to say that about the Bulls, but like don't even like they get lucky, and if I was a Bulls fan, I would pray we lose the next 20-25 games. And I can't believe I'm saying get lucky losing, but if they get lucky and lose that many games and end up getting the top five pick or something, then glory to them. But I highly doubt it. So right now they just need to worry about that, because this team has absolutely no direction right now. So yeah, sorry Bulls fans.
And if you thought Anthony Simons and Jaden Ivey was enough, they didn't think so. The next trade, this was a trade I think um was good for both sides, and it kind of made me pissed off. But this trade was the Indiana Pacers receiving Avita Zubats and Kobe Brown, and the Los Angeles Clippers getting back Benedict Mathurin, Isaiah Jackson, a 2026 first round pick, Indiana protected, a 2029 first round pick from Indiana, and a future second round pick. And just right off the bat, I really like this trade for both teams. I was mad when I got the notification because I'm like, fuck, the Pacers get their center. And now they're going to be right back next year with Hallie. They got their guys. They got Zubac, who isn't the floor spacer that Miles Turner is, but shit, I'll take him in every other aspect over Miles Turner. So they do get an upgrade in that sense. And then for the Clippers, I think taking the chance on somebody like Benedict Mathurin, I think is great. I really like Benedict Mathurin, and there were times where he did get to showcase his talents in Indiana, but some part of it felt like, yo, this guy doesn't really fit what they're trying to do. Indiana's always trying to play fast and shit like that, move that ball, and he's kind of like the guy that plays like off course. He's like the fucking he's like the jack of all trades for them, and you didn't know what you were gonna get, and that's good for teams to have. I feel like every team needs a guy like him, but now he's gonna have the opportunity to go be a starter, and I like this for the Clippers, just going into the youth movement. You're gonna have a backcourt of Darius Garland and Benedict Mathurin, and we'll see how that looks for years to come. Um, and we'll see. And they're gonna get 2 first round picks from Indy, 2026 first round pick. Um, we'll see how that is. That 2029 first round pick probably won't mean shit. Um, but I like it for both sides though.
Yeah. What's the protection for the 26th pick?
Isn't this is the one we was talking about yesterday, right? That it was like 1 through 4. I gotta look
Okay.
at the
Okay.
exact.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
you gotta check right now.
well, when I initially saw it, I was confused because I was like, wait a minute, because I thought it was just like they just gave up their picks just like that, and I was like, okay, like this is a good center here, but you can't just like give up
Yeah.
your future like that. But yeah, once I found out it was like I think 5 to 9 where they keep it. Then they'll lose it like again. I think once it's like 10 to 20, and then they might keep it
Oh,
after 20. Like
I found it here.
yeah,
The 2026 Pacers first round pick protected picks for numbers 1 through 4, also protected for picks 10 through 30. That means the Clippers only get the pick if it lands between 5 and 9.
yeah, okay.
The
Uh,
fuck? And
yeah,
then 2029 is unprotected. The Clippers will receive this pick no matter what.
yeah,
So
okay.
not gonna lie, the Pacers low key finesse.
Kinda, yeah.
They kind of finesse.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, you know, I really like Ben Mathurin. I think he's a really good shooting guard slash small forward. I think he has potential to be a star player one day. But I think with this Philly or with this Pacers team, teams can get expensive and they don't want to pay too many guys. They already have Halliburton and Siakam under the books, and they want to load up for the next few years. They got, they still got Nemhard and Neesmith that they can roll with at the 2 and 3. So I think they're just trying to get fully prepared for the following year. And it's like, in some way, I kind of, like, listen, I don't want to get like how I did with the Pistons and that Kevin Herter trade, and I kind of just blew it off. I don't want to blow this off because the Pacers are a really good team. They beat us for a reason. We have to respect that. So I do respect this team, and I'm not just gonna, act like, okay, well, they got Zubac, and they're not gonna do anything this year, obviously. But I think if they're able to keep their pick, if the pick does go to the Clippers, that could be a little bit, because the 5 to 9 range, the Clippers are gonna get a good player if it falls to them. But if the Pacers are able to keep that pick, I think that'll um, be even better
Imagine,
for them, and that's somebody they could likely end up starting too. So yeah, but I like this trade. And honestly, for the Clippers side of it, I'll just say real quick, like for a team that had Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and completely got rid of that to get to this movement with Kawhi and James Harden, and things weren't really working out. And then, like, prior to the season, how me as a CP3 fan, I was even getting excited. I'm like, oh wow, like this is actually looking good with John Collins and whatnot. It obviously didn't work, and people were very concerned about how Kawhi Leonard did that big contract, how things were going to move on in the future, right? Usually, things kind of go haywire, and we'll get to this team very, I guess quickly, but um, like the Warriors right now, right? It's like they're holding on to something that isn't there anymore. I felt like that's what the Clippers were kind of trying to do, but now they get to hit the restart button. Very good backcourt, to start off with, and they were able to get a few picks here. I think they are one of definitely the winners of the trade deadline, one of. But yeah, so I like this for both teams, but I don't think we'll really know who won this trade until probably a few years from now.
imagine if the Pacers get a top 4 pick.
Don't jinx it, because I don't. That's the one team I don't want to get. I don't want them to. So I'm rooting for the Clippers here. Like, ooh,
All right. I like that trade for both sides. Next trade, this was the big. Actually, I don't want to even say the big trade, but this trade, there was a bunch of everybody was surprised when it fucking happened, but this was Anthony Davis going to the Wizards. And so the Wizards received Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, Dante Exum, and the Dallas Mavericks received Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III, 2026 first round pick via OKC, 2030 first round pick via Golden State, 2026 second round pick via Phoenix, 2027 second round pick via Chicago, and a 2029 second round pick via Houston. This was a big fucking trade. And I was caught off guard. I was like, Anthony Davis is going to fucking Washington. I couldn't believe it. Um Dallas, I think Dallas just wanted to get the stench of the Luca trade out of the building. Um they just are gonna say we're prioritizing completely around Cooper Flag. I think this move was more so it wasn't really to get talent in the building. It was just like let's get the stench out of the fucking building. And that's no disrespect to Anthony Davis. It was just the previous regime of Nico and all them. They're like, we just want to rid ourselves from that. And Cooper Flag is our future and they want to build for that. We'll see how they go about it from there. And for the Wizards, I'm just confused. I guess this means they're gonna try to compete next season, and we'll see. They did make the Trey Young trade. I forgot how long ago that was. It might have been like 3 weeks ago or like a month ago. And now this Anthony Davis trade, and there, I think it came out. I think it was yesterday or earlier today that Anthony Davis is gonna be out for the remainder of this season, so he's not even gonna play. Um, so this is a sign for the Wizards that they are going to be competing next year. Um, and I don't know how I feel about it because I'm like, I feel like at the very best, this team will probably be a playing team. Like if everything's absolutely perfect. I do like the idea of Alex Sarr and Anthony Davis playing together because I feel like defensively they're gonna wreak a lot of havoc together. The only thing that sucks is like who's gonna space the floor between Sarr and Davis because Anthony Davis's jump shot is completely gone at this point in time. And how are these young players gonna like feel and develop when you got to play with Trey Young, who likes to have the ball in his hands a lot? You got to play with Anthony Davis, who's going to want to operate in that mid range and work in the paint. How is how are guys like Trey Johnson? I mean, he's probably a bad example because he probably is not going to need the ball as much. But like a guy like Keyshawn George or Bub Carrington, how are they going to respond to certain things when now you got to be more off ball? And on top of that, with how bad the Wizards have been and how bad they're going to be, because we don't know if Trey Young's going to play this year, they probably will get a top pick this year, and that's going to be another integration that you got to add into this nucleus. So it's going to be a little weird because you're going to have the youth movement, and then you're going to have two all-star guys on this team, and it's like, all right, we're trying to compete, but is it also going to hurt the development of our young guys because this team is being led by two guys that are Trey Young, that's I guess in the prime of his career, and Anthony Davis, who's like slowly getting out of his prime right now. So I guess I'm a little like confused about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. When the trade first happened, I was on campus and I was pretty shocked by it. Only because, like, of all teams, I wasn't expecting the Wizards for him to go to. But then I started thinking about it, and it made sense. His value for his contract is obviously really low, and it's honestly been because, I mean, let's keep it real. His injury history. I mean, the last time he played 70 games was in 2023, 2024. He played 76 games. He only missed 6 games that season. But, outside of that, he hasn't played more than 56 games since 2020. Yeah, since 2020. And, I'm, more than probably most people you would meet, lenient when it comes to injuries, right? I don't like using the term injury prone because I think a lot of these athletes, that's really just the case. Once they become injured, right, you never like 100% fully recover. So you become a little bit more vulnerable and then you keep getting hurt and hurt. And that's just what happens. And, Anthony Davis is just one of those extreme cases of that. But I do, the more I started thinking about it, right? I think a lot of times, it's always funny to see uh, reactions right after a trade happens and you don't really have time to think and you just think on the spot. But then, when you actually get to think about it, how you start to feel because the more time I've gotten, I actually like this trade for the Wizards. And, I think it's kind of similar to how I said, um, before shoot no, oh with the Jazz, right, and getting Jaren Jackson, how you can't stay in rebuild mode forever, and it's like the Wizards really since the John Wall and Bradley Beal era have been like stuck in this complacent see where they're getting like all of these picks and they've messed up a lot of picks. Johnny Davis, right, a couple years back, that was one of the worst picks in like recent history.
That's what they get.
And
That's what they
yeah,
get.
but it's like, in my personal opinion, every franchise, maybe not a mistake that severe, but every franchise is going to make mistakes and you have to, be able to clean them up somehow. And I think, the Wizards are trying to do that, but I like how, they were still able to keep their pick. And I think they realize now where, listen, we have a star that, I mean, what do we just say, right? He's going to miss the season. Okay. And what were the numbers I just gave you now, right? I mean, he came into the league and it took him One, two, three, four. It took him 5 years to hit the 70 game mark. Think about that, right? So I can almost guarantee you, and I don't want to because I don't want to be cruel, and I want to, want these players to be healthy. But I could almost guarantee you he's probably going to miss 20 to 30 games at some point next season. And I think the Wizards know that, and they know that, with his injury probability, there's a good chance that it can allow a lot of the younger players to get on the floor. But I think in their mind, they want him ready for the playoffs, and they want to get this young team into the playoffs, right? And kind of follow that OKC mantra where, you know, why it's kind of like the Utah Jazz, right? How the Jazz are making a statement and saying, why should we just hold back and stay in this, stay out of the playoff picture, for this entire rebuild? Like now it's time to accelerate. It's time to go. I feel like in some ways the Hornets are kind of viewing themselves that way. They've been on a big winning streak and, they've made some moves lately to help, add to their young core and their pieces. And I don't think those players are necessarily taken away from Con Knipple and some of the other players they have. But I like that they're trying to build up the depth and whatnot. So, I think for the Wizards, this was one of those golden opportunities where think about it. This is the Washington Wizards. They have the lowest attendance in the entire league. They have the worst jersey sales in the entire league. This is a franchise that needs a spark. They need to fill up seats. And if I were them, I honestly applaud them because there probably weren't going to be many better players you could get, right? Think about it when Anthony Davis is on the floor. He still is a really good player. Trey Young, too. So I actually like the direction that they're going. In this manner. But I think it's, more so for Dallas. You did the best you can. The best player you probably got out of this was, I don't know, I mean, maybe still Chris Middleton at this point. I don't know. You could say, I guess, Tyus Jones, Marvin Bagley's played all right. But I think it's the picks that are going to be more valuable to 2026 and 2030 first round picks, along with the 3 second rounders. And I completely agree with you. I think it was more so just to get the stench of the Luka Doncic horrible worst trade of the century out of the building and just start refresh or just start fresh for the fans. But I actually like this move for the Wizards a lot more than most people. It's just, of course, the biggest caveat is Anthony Davis's health.
Yeah, well, I guess we're gonna have to really wait till next season to see how this goes. But on to the next trade. This one doesn't even need a discussion. The Mavericks get Tyus Jones, and the Hornets get Malachi Branham.
Yeah.
Don't even need a discussion.
Uh,
I literally wrote down like every single trade, but like not all of these need a convo.
nah.
Brooklyn Nets receive Hunter Tyson and a 2032 second round pick. Denver Nuggets receive 2026 second round pick. They just did that uh, to just uh, salary dump basically for the Nuggets. Next trade, this was another salary dump trade. Grizzlies get Eric Gordon, 2032 second round pick, and Philly is just dumping Eric Gordon's contract. This one we could talk about because it benefits us.
Yeah.
The New York Knicks get Jose Alvarado, and the New Orleans Pelicans get Dalen Terry and 2 second round picks.
Yeah. Jose.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
my first
nah.
reaction.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I'll be honest. I mean, I was seeing rumors about it, and I'm kind of one of those people, and I'm just wait and see. Rumors happen, but they don't always execute. Rumors have been going on for Giannis for the you know like 2 years now, and there hasn't been any action there. But I really like this move for us and the New York Knicks. And no, I'm not just saying it because he's my Puerto Rican hermano. Okay, uh, pero yeah, me gusta eso. Claro que sí. But no, in all honesty, Jose Alvarado, I think he just screams New York. Just the style of play, what he could bring to this team. Very unselfish player. It's not like, he's gonna need to hog the ball or take it out of our stars and playmakers' hands, because that's one of his biggest weaknesses is he's not necessarily a playmaker in the sense of creating his own shot. But this is a guy, I mean, he can knock down the three ball, 35% 3-point shooter, in his whole career. But I think more so than anything, obviously, bringing him in for the defense, a guy that averages a steal per game his entire career. And, I think he's going to bring a lot of relentless defense, a lot of grit and grind attitude. I think he's going to help, the Knicks stay focused. Make sure that their defensive edge is always on tack because lately it seems some of these games, especially towards the second half, they tend to wear off their defensive intensity. So Jose, he's one of those players that when he's not on your team, yeah, he's you want to grab him by the ear, right, and like yank him, and you know, uh, get a little bit annoying sometimes. But when he's on your team, you want to give him a big old hug and throw him in the air, and say thank you, right, when he gets you those cherry picking steals off the inbound. So I love it for the Knicks. Obviously, we know the news that Miles McBride, very good chance he's going to be out into the playoffs. So we kind of needed somebody to replace him there. And, I like Tyler Kolek a lot, but we can't just rely on him the whole time either. And Jordan Clarkson as well. So just bringing in that extra guard depth. Not getting excessive with it like Chicago. Sorry, Anthony. But yeah, no. So, but yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. I think it's a good trade. It's, of course, it's not anything like, oh, the Knicks are gonna win the championship now, even though we are. But I don't think this is a move that's gonna like, this is a move that catapults that and like solidifies that. But I think it's one of those moves where champion teams that are in championship mode tend to make these small minor moves. I don't think we have to talk about this one, so I'll just say it. But the Thunder getting Jared McCain was one of those moves, right? Where, they added a player that could, put up 15, 16 a night for them, probably coming off the bench. And that's a small little move that I kind of feel like this is one of those moves for the Knicks where he could make some big plays for us in the playoffs, hopefully.
Yeah, man. In Leon we trust.
Yeah.
The fucking gymnastics this dude was pulling. So he traded Yabusele to Chicago for Dalen Terry. And at first I was like, I guess that's it. And then I was looking at Dalen Terry highlights the next day. I'm like, all right, fuck it. Let's go. And
Yeah.
then I think at noon the next day, it was like Dalen Terry, 2 seconds for Jose Alvarado. I was like, we got him. I'm like, in Leon, we trust. But everything you said, like New York kid, Christ the King, high school legend, coming back home. I'm super excited for it. We get a dog in the building, somebody that the fans are gonna absolutely love. And I think just the way he plays basketball is like he has a chip on his shoulder. He's an undrafted player, and now he's coming to play for the big one of the biggest franchises in the league. And I think his play is just gonna be very infectious and contagious on the rest of the guys. Like you're gonna see him picking up 94 feet, him diving for loose balls, and I think it's gonna resonate with the rest of the guys on the team. Like we saw McHale in that game against Toronto when he said he felt like he was playing with a sense of entitlement. All that shit's gonna go out the window when you got Jose Alvarado literally playing for his fucking life out there. He's playing to not only get money for his family and all that, but he wants to build a legacy in New York City. And it sounds corny to say just because like Jose Alvarado isn't fucking Aaron Judge. He's not fucking Eli Manning. Like, what the fuck does he care about legacy for? But like, this is everything he's worked for, and now he gets to play in his home city and wear the New York on his chest. So he's not going to take this opportunity for granted.
No.
And I think he's going to prove that every single night he steps on the court, and his teammates are going to see that. And I think it's going to rub off on the rest of the team. And he's another guy. I mean, never met the dude, but like I feel like he would hold players accountable when shit isn't going the way it is. Um, all these defensive missed assignments that we have, and we're pointing fingers. I think he's gonna get on people's asses, and he is a guy that I'm sorry to say, but he isn't a nice guy like the Knicks guys we have on the roster. He isn't afraid to get in your face. He will square up with you and punch you in the face, even if he is a foot shorter than you.
Yeah.
Um, ask Mark Williams how that shit felt like. So we got a guy in the building who's with all the smoke. He's ready for it all, and just by having him on our team, I'm with all the smoke too. Any team in the Eastern Conference I want to see us, I'm not ducking no smoke. And I feel even more confident because we have Jose Alvarado. And I know people are probably gonna look at this and be like, who the fuck does he think Jose Alvarado is? But I feel like it's so refreshing to have a guy like this on your team. Cause like you said it perfectly. Like if he's not on your team, you hate the shit out of him. But if he's on your team, you fucking love him. But this is what the Knicks wanted because you saw it last year in the playoffs. You had Asar Thompson picking up Jalen Brunson full court every fucking possession. In the conference finals, you had Nimhard and you had Neesmith picking up Jalen Brunson the entire game, full court, 94 feet. Now we have a guy that could do that in Jose Alvarado. And get well soon, Deuce McBride. But when he comes back, he can do that as well. So we're just emulating that same formula. And the amount of people, and I'm prepared to see the tweets, everybody crying whenever Jose and fucking Josh Hart just annoy the fuck out of people in
Oh
games.
my god.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm
that tandem. Oh my god.
I-
I'm just
I'm
picturing that in
prepared.
my head.
Yeah, I'm
Like
prepared for
they're
that.
just like the two biggest pests, like just on defense. Like, I could just imagine that in the playoffs going up against those freaking pesky Pistons, right? Like we're just gonna, we need to both him and Josh Hardy to be all over Cade Cunningham. But yeah, bro. And you know what? Too like, you know, you know what, Justin? I'm sorry, but this is how they say, truly, this is the city of stars are born. I mean, we made Jeremy Lin a superstar here. Okay. We make people like Lance Thomas stars over here. Okay. Like Jose Alvarado, you don't need to be, Jalen Brunson. Okay. Jalen Brunson is going to have a statue one day, most likely. Okay. If this guy ever wins a championship here. Okay. You don't need to be Jalen Brunson. You don't got to be Carl Towns. Okay. But if you show up in the playoffs for us, and you have some of the bigger plays, Mikal Bridges, we were talking about against the Nuggets, right? Had a horrible game, but my phone background is that picture of him getting the steal against Jason Tatum in the playoffs, right? Because where would we be without that? So it's like, sometimes you have to take the good with the bad, but Jose Alvarado, as long as he can be himself and have those big plays in the playoffs, oh, he's gonna be a legend in New York. I
Yeah.
promise you that. And the fact that he's Boricua too. I mean, come on now, that just adds to it. So like he's
Yeah.
gonna be a star in the city.
Having him in Towns is like it's gonna be
Yeah.
um yeah, I'm excited. Next trade, don't even really have to talk about this that much. Utah Jazz received Chris Boucher, Brooklyn Nets received Josh Minot, and the Celtics just did this to shed salary.
Yeah.
Um this is another trade which is like whatever. Milwaukee Bucks get Usman Dang, Nigel Hayes Davis. Phoenix Suns get Cole Anthony and Amir Coffey, and the Clippers get Nick Richards. Just a role
Oh,
player
that's it.
shakeup. Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing really to say. Decent trade. This one don't even could get a little bit of discussion, but the Lakers get Luke Kennard, Hawks get Gabe Vincent, and a 2032 second round pick.
Um. Let me see that. Oh yeah, right here.
Yeah, Lakers
Yeah.
get their shooter and Luke Kennard. He's gonna get a lot of open looks just playing with Luke and LeBron and Reeves. So and the Lakers desperately needing more floor spacers.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly exactly what you said. I'm really not worried or scared by any stretch of the imagination for the Lakers. Like I really don't want to sound like a hater at all because I know that's what I'm about to sound like. But like that this team is done. This is not, they need to move on from LeBron. As long as LeBron is there, the team is going to be held back. They need to, it's like a team that has two, they're moving in two different directions right now. And LeBron being there just taking up too much money, too much cap that could go to other players. So for me personally, there's really not much that the Lakers could do. And I'm just, this doesn't I have absolutely, it doesn't have any effect on me. I still think they're very likely going to be a first round exit team.
All right, the next two trades will probably have a good amount of discussion for. This trade, Minnesota Timberwolves receive Ayo Dosunmu and Julian Phillips. Chicago Bulls receive Rob Dillingham, Leonard Miller, and 4 second-round picks.
Yeah. So I guess I'll start, but I like this trade here specifically for, the Minnesota Timberwolves, where, they've been looking at a upgrade for guard for a while. And, listen, I thought there were other guards on the market they could have gotten. Kobe White on the same team, I think probably would have been a little bit better. But I think Ayo Dosunmu's a underrated player, man, and I think with Anthony Edwards there, he could probably make some things happen. He's having a career year this year, averaging 15 points per game. Shooting the three ball at a 45% clip, with 4 attempts per game. And the way that Anthony Davis shoots, that's going to help a lot as well. And we know Ayo Dosunmu's a quick player. He's a fast player. He can get to the rim. Which those two things right there, getting to the rim, shooting threes, just like Anthony Edwards, right? That's going to complement their game really well. So I think that's going to space out the backcourt a lot. And what do you call, kind of make teams worry about that and kind of forget the fact that they do. I know people want to hate on him, but Julius Randle's still a pretty solid player, and I think they're gonna forget about that. And yeah, so I have my eye on the Timberwolves. I think Tim Connolly is a really good GM, and I think if they find any way to get any magic, they're gonna have better. They're gonna have more to offer in the summertime, and they'll have more picks available to offer. But this is a team I have on the Giannis watch if the Bucks can't reconcile that franchise, because I know they're gonna make one desperate attempt to save it again, but I doubt that's gonna work. So um, but yeah, that's really what I have to say. I think it's a great move for the Timberwolves. They needed a point guard to help them move the needle. And listen, Mike Conley, we love you. You've had a great career. You've contributed a lot to the NBA. Very, very good sportsman. Very, very humble person, Mike Conley. So I respect that. But he's not the same guy he was anymore. So they needed an upgrade, and they got it.
Yeah, I really like this move for the Timberwolves. Getting Ayo Dosunmu, getting that backup guard that they desperately needed. They needed some off the bench scoring punch outside of Naz Reid. I think with the play of Dante DiVincenzo this year, you want to still keep him in that starting lineup. And I think giving Ayo that off the bench look is a breath of fresh air for this team. And listen, you're gonna take the chance. You have Ayo Dosunmu on a expiring deal. He is a free agent after the season. He's making $7.5 million. So you got him on a bargain deal. Hopefully he goes crazy and you could somehow keep him. And but I do like this move for them because they did need a punch off the bench. For the Bulls, you get Rob Dillingham. Um, more guards, more guards. Like that's all I could say. That's really all I could say. But I really like this move for the Timberwolves. Next trade, I remember when this went down, I was just like, whatever. Um, Golden State Warriors get Kristaps Porzingis, 2026 second-round pick. Atlanta Hawks receive Jonathan Kuminga, Buddy Hield, and the Toronto Raptors receive Trace Jackson Davis. Um, I'm not gonna lie, just off rip, I do not like this move for the Warriors. I think the Warriors, spoiler alert, are one of the fucking losers of the trade deadline. Um, this felt like they just did something just to do it. Because you got Kristaps Porzingis just to say, oh, we got a center that could shoot threes, but the motherfucker don't even play. He never fucking play. And what the fuck is that gonna do for you guys? Like, there was nothing that this team could have done where I was like, yeah, they're beating OKC, they're beating Denver, and that includes the Giannis trade. This team is so cooked that even if they got Giannis somehow, I would have been like, this team ain't beating OKC. They not beating the Nuggets. They're not beating the Spurs. Like, this team is just stuck right now, and they have. I know they want to do right by Steph Curry, but it's just hard at this point. Like, when they're just sticking to the old rock band, this is like the reality you're gonna have to deal with. Um, and you're not gonna be able to put like pieces around Steph. And like, I didn't think even if they did that Giannis trade, I'm like, you was gonna mortgage all of that for what, 2 or 3 years of Giannis and Steph? Because Steph is about to be 38 next month. People tend to forget that, but I don't know. I didn't like that move for Golden State. That just felt like we're just gonna do something just to do it. For Atlanta, I do like it. Get a athletic young wing in the building. Just fill up the room with wings and athletic players. You take a chance on Jonathan Kaminga because he's shown flashes in Golden State, but he didn't get to unleash himself over there. And now he has the second half of the season to really prove himself, and you could decide from there if you want to keep him or just want to get rid of him. Or I think you could he has a team option at the end of next year, so you could take it into next year. Team option. If he does great, you could pick it up. If not, let him go, trade him, and you see from there. It's basically a tryout, and it's like low risk, low reward because Kristaps barely played for you guys anyway, so you didn't really lose much. And Buddy Hield was just like a throw in for the salary and shit like that, but it helps. Another spacer. You have Corey Kispert. Now you have Buddy Hield. More spacing on the floor. But I think this was a move that you
And
can't really get mad at for the Hawks because it's like you're taking a flyer on Jonathan Kaminga, and if it works out, you look great. If it doesn't, you didn't really lose too much to even feel bad about. You get rid of Kristaps Porzingis, who only even played 17 games with you anyway. And for the Raptors, getting Trace Jackson Davis, cool. It's cool. You needed more front court depth.
um, I don't even know where to begin. Um, I mean, I'm gonna spoil it. This is like it's not even close. This is the loser of the trade deadline. I have no idea why they're even trying. And at this point, honestly, I think the best thing, and I mean it, and I'm gonna say this with a straight face because I straight up mean this. I'm not playing around. I think the best thing that they could have done and they should have done, was shock the entire league and probably the sports world and trade Steph Curry. I think that would have been the best thing they could have done for this franchise. This franchise is done. They're gone. Sorry, Warrior fans, you're finished. Don't show up to the games this year, and I'd probably say even next year too. I mean, you're gonna be bad. You're gonna be really, really bad. I mean, 2027, Steph Curry's gonna be a free agent, gone. Probably, retired if he's not on another team. Hopefully, he's able to escape somehow. But Jimmy Butler done. Porzingis, I mean, he's a free agent after this year. That's why it was just such a horrible trade. But Draymond Green after 2027, guess what? Done, right? So it's like, your only players on contract for 2027 are Moses Moody and Will Richard. Okay, just stop it. I remember when, last week when things were intensifying with Giannis, right? And we have a little group chat on Instagram with my brother. And the first thing I kept saying, and I repeated it over and over again, I really hope Giannis does not go to the Warriors because that would have been the worst thing for his career. Because this guy was going to end up playing with freaking Will Richard as the starting point guard eventually. Okay, this team needs to. I get it. They had a really good run, dynasty. It's like, listen, there's things I've held on to, right? There's girls we like and have done all of that, and you hold on to, but guess what? It's never gonna happen. It's never gonna work out again. So it's like, just move on. If I were them, I'd be aiming for the 2027 draft, and all of that. So I don't know what they're doing here, getting Chris Porzingis. Don't think it's going to save their season at all. I think every single contender that saw that trade went like, and just, let off a quick little laugh and just moved on with their business. I don't think anybody's intimidated at all. What we're, I think, 51 games in the season for most teams, right? Yeah, Porzingis hasn't played even 20 games yet. You want to talk about injury prone? We were just talking about Anthony Davis. Porzingis literally has, and I'm not even trying to be cruel because I'm being honest, but he literally has an illness. Okay, like it's not even, this isn't even a matter of discussion. This is more of a matter of concern. Like he probably shouldn't be playing basketball, to tell you the truth, based on some of the things that are going on. But I get he has to feed his family, make money. All players want to do that. But listen, I'm sorry. I could probably go on for like another 10 minutes. I don't want to do that. So I'm just gonna say this. Yeah, the Warriors are finished. They're done. They are the losers of the trade deadline to me. They shouldn't have even pulled the trigger at all. They should just let this team simmer, let this dynasty die out, and I guess they don't want to. I mean, they have, I think, 4 to 5 picks within the next few years. Good, stick with them. You didn't need to get Giannis for them. Just stick with it. That's probably the best thing they could do at this point. So, yeah, Porzingis is probably going to be on a completely different team. I expect by September, October.
Yeah. Fuck the Warriors. Next trade. Don't even got to talk about it. Lonzo Ball to the Utah Jazz. He got waived. The Cavs are just shedding salary. Um, yeah, Lonzo Ball to future second round pick. I think teams are now looking to sign Lonzo. I don't know why. I guess his name just holds hella weight and he has hella pedigree, but he looked like fucking dog shit this year. And I guess next trade, I'm not gonna talk about it. If you want to talk about it, you can. But Raptors receiving Chris Paul, Brooklyn Nets receiving Ochai Agbaji and a 2032 second round pick. The Clippers received the draft rights to Vanya. I'm not even gonna try to say that, and cap relief.
Yeah. I think Marinkovic or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
Marinkovic.
yeah, something like that. But yeah, I mean, there really isn't much to say here. It's just, glad they finally freed CP3. I doubt he ever plays for the Toronto Raptors. I don't think he ever wants to be associated with Kyle Lowry in his life. So, not even gonna, yeah, I'm not even gonna address that. Everybody knows that knows me knows how I feel about Kyle Lowry. I think it's a joke calling him the greatest Raptor of all time. That's like, uh, that's just crazy to me. I mean, that's crazy talk. Anyway, so Chris Paul, I mean, I hope they waive him, and I'm still kind of evaluating to see what team would really be best for him. But I think I would like to say the Knicks, but we did already get Jose Alvarado, so I think we'll be fine in that measure. But outside of that, I mean, for Brooklyn, I'm not even gonna. Brooklyn is the worst team in the NBA. They gotta get their act together and start, drafting stars. But yeah, so hopefully Chris Paul can find another team.
Yeah. Next trade. This was a good one. Charlotte Hornets received Kobe White. Mike Conley is not relevant anymore because he's back in Minnesota, and the Bulls receive Colin Sexton. Um, Usman Dang, didn't he get rerouted somewhere else, or I don't remember? And then 3 second round picks. Um, I'm gonna just say out the way. I love this trade for the Hornets. Currently on an 8 game winning streak. I believe, and I've been saying it since last week. This team is gonna make the play in, and to add somebody like Kobe White, is unbelievable. And the Bulls, you see the theme of this episode? Just more guards, even more guards. Jaden Ivey, Anthony Simons, Rob Dillingham, Colin Sexton. More guards. That's what they're doing. But yeah, I love this trade for the Hornets. And I was almost about to roast the Timberwolves, but they ended up getting Io, so they made up for it. But I was about to roast the Timberwolves because they could have gotten Kobe White, but they wanted to stand and wait for Giannis, and they didn't get Giannis, and then they missed out on Kobe White. So good thing they got Io, because if they didn't get Io, I would have been up here roasting them. Because, like I say all the time to the people that like to shit on the Mikal Bridges trade, you cannot wait for motherfuckers to be available, because it is not guaranteed that you're going to get them. I can't
Yeah.
even speak right now because I'm fucking mad. You can't hold on to all your assets waiting for someone to request out, because you're not gonna fucking get them unless
Yeah.
they tell you, unless they literally hold a gun to the fucking GM like that in his office and be like, "Yo, send me here and only there." You're not getting that player. It's not fucking guaranteed.
Yeah.
So I don't understand this notion of holding on to your shit for something that's not guaranteed. And through the grace of God, the Timberwolves were able to get Io DeSumo, but they almost missed out on not only Kobe White, not only Giannis, but Kobe White as well. Which Io DeSumo is cool, but I would have rather have had Kobe White. But I love this pickup for the Hornets. Unbelievable. Just keep adding on to that talent for this winning streak that you guys got going on. Um, I love it. This team is gonna be I hope they make the playoffs. Like, I would love for them to fight with Detroit in the first round or something like that. It would be so fun to see. But I think this team is gonna be. I don't think this is a fluke. Like, we're seeing the building process of this team going forward, and I think they're gonna be here to stay.
100%. Listen, I am a New York Knicks fan, but I am also an NBA fan. And with being an NBA fan, I love to see, small market teams finally, I mean, the Hornets are one of those teams that are just like, they not you they're let's be honest, they're a laughing stock, right? You never take them seriously. Have you ever feared the Hornets? Have you ever taken them seriously? No, right? Especially when they were the Bobcats, those were some of the worst years there. I'll never forget when they went 7-59 during the lockout season. But um, this team for like I'm sorry, but I'm just happy for Hornets fans because I was watching a video. There's a lot of little kids there that love the Hornets that are really big Lamelo fans and whatnot. And little kids, they want to see. They're just like any other fan. They want to see a good team, right? So. It's kind of cool to see that now, and I think the Hornets are one of the cooler teams in the NBA, right? I like their logo a lot. Their court is cool. Just everything about them is cool. It's a very Jordan-esque team. It's the place where, Jordan and a lot of basketball players, legends are from in North Carolina. Um, but overall, just for like the fit on the court, I mean, I love it. I do think it's a really good guard rotation, maybe one of the best ones in the league now with Lamelo Ball, Con Knipple, Kobe White, Josh Green as well. So I think the Hornets are really, trying to make a statement and, they're not holding back anymore and saying, yeah, we'll just wait again for another pick. You've got LaMelo there, second overall pick. You've got Brandon Miller there, another former second overall pick, right? How many times are you going to keep trying to aim for that, right? And, are you going to try to get all of your five starters as, top five picks? Like, that's not realistic, So these are the type of moves they have to make to, you know, help your team. And Kobe White brings those, intangibles that are very, uh, essential for today's game. So, yeah,
Nah, yeah. Um,
it's gonna be really good for the Hornets. And
yeah,
I,
this
I
is
agree with you.
great.
I think, yeah, if I'd be surprised if they don't make the play-in at this point.
They should definitely make the plan.
Yeah,
And
they deserve it.
the final trade because I don't give a fuck about no Vit Krejci trade. I'm not talking about that shit. And the final trade, the Oklahoma City Thunder received Jared McCain, and the Philadelphia 76ers get a 2026 first round pick via Houston and multiple second round picks. I think this was just sadly done from Philly. Unfortunate. Ever since VJ Edgecombe got there, there wasn't really space for Maxi. I mean for McCain, and then you still have Quentin Grimes, who you want to keep because they got Quentin Grimes. I think of the trade deadline last year, and McCain was already hurt by then. But he's been a great ad for the Sixers, and it was just unfortunate. Um, McCain looked really well last year for the Sixers until he got hurt, and now coming back from injury, trying to find him, reacclimate himself, and then it's like, all right, you got Grimes in front of you, you got VJ in front of you, and VJ has had a really good season so far, and it's hard to make up that groundwork. But now he goes to OKC. OKC swooped in, and to me, I was like, what the fuck? The rich only get richer.
Yep.
See, it's like it feels like the whole league is playing checkers and Sam Presti's playing chess when he's doing shit like this. Like all the
Yeah.
first round picks he has, it feels like certain teams and a lot of us in whether it's on social media or whatever, it's like a lot of people kind of overrate and overvalue first round picks just because it's in the title of the trade. Like so and so gets traded for two firsts. People just see two firsts and they're like, oh, two firsts. But then once you start to dive deep into what type of first round pick it is, then it's like, oh, it don't really mean shit. And Sam Presley understands that. He's like, yo, I got all these fucking first round picks. I could just give one that's like whatever.
Yeah, but that's
And
because they're a championship team.
yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
He's like, I could give one of these that's whatever. And these motherfuckers are just gonna eat that shit up like it's fucking cake. So you bring Jared McCain in the building, and it happened at the same time that the Shea news was that came out of him with the abdominal strain and he's gonna miss some games. But it's a great. I think I love this move for OKC just to bolster up their bench, give them another shot creator off the bench. Um, I do like what AJ Mitchell has given this team so far this season, but adding somebody like Jared McCain, another dynamic scorer, it's only gonna help even more, especially when this team at times like a lot of teams dare OKC to just kill them from three, and some nights they don't hit their shots. Jared McCain's another dude who could not only hit the three ball, but he can score off the dribble as well. So if you put him out there in a lineup with AJ Mitchell and Isaiah Joe or shit like that, he could probably go out there, him and AJ Mitchell, and make some shit happen. And you can even have him out there with J Dub in a lineup or something like that. And we'll see. It's gonna take some time for him to get adjusted into this new system, but he don't be surprised if this dude in a playoff game goes off for like 13 points in a quarter, because I think he could absolutely do that. So I love this move for OKC, and it's like, damn man, they're playing fucking chess out there.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think I think the Thunder, I mean, this is what they do, right? And like I said before, I think, if it's one thing if you're a team that isn't competing, and you want to trade a pick that's even in, that would perceive to be in the 20s, as opposed to a team that is in the playoff picture, right? Or isn't, firmly in the championship picture, like the Thunder, where the Thunder. I mean, not only are they the reigning champions, but they're still one of the five youngest teams in the league, right? So let's be honest. I'm not like trying to devalue first round picks. I don't think that's what we're trying to do. But it's just like depending on the scenario that you're in, like the Thunder right now, a first round pick to them is that's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich without the jelly. Like they don't care. Like it's like it's stale to them. I'm just being honest. Like they're not getting anything out of it. They might get a player that is like a role player that'll come and play. You're basically getting like another Jared McCain type of player, maybe not as effective as him. So, why not get something that's more uh, established right now with Jared McCain as opposed to, just using up all of those picks that, there's a good chance you might throw that player into the G League or something like that, because that's usually what happens more times than not. And if you're Philly, it sucks, but obviously the fact that I'm sure they wouldn't have made this trade if they didn't draft VJ Edgecombe, but they did, and he's been outstanding for them, one of the best rookies in the league this year, without a doubt. And he's got a very promising future. That's a very, very scary looking backcourt for the future there. Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. So Jared McCain, I know he's probably going to want to play more minutes and is getting logged up there with those two as well as Quentin Grimes. And Jared McCain kind of does a lot of the same things Quentin Grimes does as well. So I think it's a fresh start for him. There's no high demand where he's going to have to come in and all the pressure's going to be on him. No, so he's going to. I think players like him thrive the most when they're easing into their game and you're not pressuring them. And I think it's going to be fool's gold for the Thunder because, like you said, it's like everybody else is playing checkers and oh yeah, let's get rid of let's keep all of these first round picks and these first round picks and not go swinging for this player. But the Thunder, they don't care. They won last year and they want to keep winning and. They know the only way to do that is to get rid of assets. You have to spend, in order to gain.
Yep, that's gonna do it for all the trades. Right, but before we get out of here, let's name our biggest winners and losers of the trade deadline. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest loser was easily the Golden State Warriors. Think I spent more than enough time talking about them, so I'll just very briefly say, the Warriors, I think in this trade deadline in some way kind of embarrassed themselves. And I think they signaled that of course they did it unintentionally and they probably don't realize or they just don't want to admit that they're signaling it, but this is the end for the Golden State Warriors. So they're the big losers here. And for me, probably one of my, if they're not my biggest winner, one of my biggest winners has to be the LA Clippers because, just for all the slack that they got for the SGA trade and, getting rid of him, after they drafted him and he was looking good, all the Clippers too. And, they got rid of him to placate Kawhi Leonard. And, we all know what happened. And the Thunder ended up winning the championship with Shea. I think this was a very good move for them to kind of restart that rebuild. I think people were kind of worried that the Clippers would kind of fall into what the Warriors are most likely going to fall into in 2027, where, they don't have any picks, they don't have any assets, they don't have any, young player that they can really lead on. Their cap space is like kind of all over the place. And they kind of avoided that in a lot of ways and got a much younger backcourt that could, definitely do a lot of danger, but two players that have a lot of potential. One of them that I really like a lot more than the other in terms of potential. But, they have built themselves up pretty well. They got a few picks to go along with it. So, yeah, those are probably my winners. The Clippers as the winner, Warriors as the loser.
All right, so I got three winners and three losers. Um, it's and one two. I think two of my losers we didn't even talk about, but I have to talk about it here. And I gotta. I'll start on my winners though. My winners, I got the Hornets being able to get Kobe White. Fantastic move. I loved it. My second winner is the Pacers getting Zubats and low key finessing the Clippers with that first round pick this year with all the protections and shit. Cause it's like you're basically putting yourself in a position where you probably are gonna get that pick, whether it's top four or you basically could get a lottery pick because 10 through 30, that shit could be 13. You have another lottery pick. So, and then my last one is the Grizzlies. Just the return you got back from Jaren Jackson and just the outlook in the future with all them picks that you guys have for a franchise that drafts really really well. I do like the return that they got, and they could just go complete youth movement and build around. They feel Cedric Howard and I think Zach Edey were like their untouchable players. Um, so that's gonna be their cornerstone pieces. So we'll see how they build around that. My biggest losers, my top three. Um, no particular order, but I just have to be in here. The Warriors, um, them trading for Kristaps Porzingis. I don't think that was like I think like I said earlier that move they just did it just to do it. It doesn't really move the needle. They still not shit to me. Second team, the Houston Rockets. Um, you sat there and didn't do nothing, hands tied behind your back, while other
Very true.
teams around you got better. And there is desperate need. You do need that point guard. And then you did need another front court player after Steven Adams went down, and they haven't been playing the best basketball as of late. Um, so they are a loser for me. And my last loser, and people are gonna say I'm picking on them, but I'm not. But my last loser is the Miami Heat. Um, time and time again, this team is attached to every single name in the sport of basketball. Every time somebody is available for trade, or if there's rumblings for trades, and their name always gets brought up as a potential, oh, we're interested in that player, and they never get any of those players. It's fucking embarrassing. They are that guy on Instagram that looks at every girl's story and likes the story, never DMs them, nothing, just likes the story. They are that team. And this is another year where they were the only team in the Eastern Conference that did not make a move at all. There were rumors leading up to the end of the trade deadline that they were prepared to make a move to get Ja Morant and Giannis in the building. I'm like, you guys have not pulled that shit off before. What makes you think you're going to do it now? And I remember when the Kevin Durant saga was happening and they were trying to get Kevin Durant, they didn't want to give up Jaime Jaquez for Kevin Durant. If they're not trying to do that, they're not going to get anybody. So they are the biggest fucking losers in the fucking league because they are holding on to guys and they are
Tell
like that guy.
Justin. Tell him.
They're like that guy in the fantasy football league that literally want to trade for your best players and they want to give you pennies on the dollar. They are that fucking team. And until they don't get out of their way, they're always going to be that mid fucking team that makes the play-in, gets the fucking 17th pick, and that's it. They're never the last time they had a top 5 pick
Yeah.
was Michael fucking Beasley.
Yeah, Justin,
And
you
the
gotta make
last
that
time
the preview, bro.
the last time they had a top 10 pick was Justice Winslow. This team needs to be fucking bad. They're in the mix for every their name is
Justice
attached to
Winslow.
their name is attached to every single fucking free agent, and they don't get anybody. They don't get
Oh my
anybody at all.
god.
They don't get anybody at all. So this team is the
Oh my
biggest
god.
fucking loser of trade deadline, free agency, anything you name. They like this franchise. Like it's, I would be sick to my stomach if I was a fan of this team. I wouldn't be able to do it. If I gotta watch fucking Simone Fontecchio, Pele Larson hoops, fucking Bam Adebayo whenever he feels like not being aggressive or being aggressive, I don't like it.
Yeah, J and J audience, listen. Forget every single word I just said. It's irrelevant. That right there, what Justin said. I mean, the Warriors are still losers, yes, but I mean, because we didn't really talk about them because they didn't make any trades, like Justin is saying. They are the biggest losers, not of the trade deadline of the decade. I mean, these people should have gotten, freaking Kevin Durant. These people, Justin, they are the losers of the decade. They are the losers of the millennium in the 2000s, bro. You're supposed to get Carmelo Anthony.
Their
Yo,
biggest their biggest
yeah,
their
you're supposed
biggest
to get Carmelo Anthony,
their
bro.
their biggest trade deadline move in the last 5 years
Yo,
was getting fucking Kyle Lowry. That was their big trade deadline move in 2022. and he was only good for like 1 year. That was their big trade deadline move. If it wasn't for Jimmy going to the Heat in the summertime and free agency, what the fuck would we even be talking about?
Yo, yeah.
This team don't get
I'm sorry.
fucking
I'm
nobody.
sorry. I'm sorry. It's just too
That
funny.
was the one time they got somebody, and the motherfucker was washed right after. They got Terry Rozier. Everybody was hyped.
Oh
The motherfucker was
man.
washed right after.
Uh, Everybody knows how I feel about Kyle Lowry. That knows me, so that's why it just makes it even funnier. But yeah, the Heat are. I mean, I say this. 'Cause I'm not scared of them at all. And to me, they were the biggest fluke when they made it to the finals with Jimmy Butler. That team was all Jimmy Butler, and now they're nothing. And yeah, I'm sorry, but I sound like a Heat hater. I kind of am, but that's because everything Justin is saying. They are an extremely stubborn team. I think Pat Riley is an extremely stubborn executive and probably person. I mean, I never met him personally, but that's just my assumption. Yeah, the Heat are going to be in complacency forever, and they're going to be in rumors to get John Morant and Giannis Antetokounmpo in the summer. And the best player they're going to end up with is Usman Jeng, probably. Okay, I mean honestly, all right, and maybe they might sign Lonzo Ball out of waivers or something like that. That's probably going to be the best option they have. I mean. Even because Page Jakuchonis, I mean, I was upset that he got drafted to that team too, because I liked him, but yeah, man, dude, fuck the Heat. Okay, honestly.
But yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode of the JV podcast. Vic, I appreciate you for pulling up. It was a good
Absolutely,
episode.
absolutely.
Good
It's,
episode. Um, is there anything you want to shout out before we get out of here?
um, I mean, go Knicks, and let's keep making that push to win the championship. Let's go,
Yeah.
Jose, 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 Jose. You about to fill up those stands, baby? Yes, sir, Boricua.
Go Knicks. As soon as I get out of here, I'm hyped because Duke plays UNC at 6:30. So
Yes,
I'm
yes.
excited for that.
Oh,
But yeah, if you guys are listening on audio, please give us 5 stars. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at the JV Podcast One. Follow me on TikTok at the JV Podcast. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time. Peace.